ask everybody to please turn off their cell phones or electronic devices. And ask everybody to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'd ask for a moment of silent reflection, and please keep the two police officers from Onondaga County and the Syracuse Police Department in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you very much. Agenda approval. I have a couple of items. Under Councilman Morial, we have two planning board issues and a zoning board issue. That's all I have. Does anybody else have anything? Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resident statements. Tom Smith, 630 Cuba Street.
Councilman Jacoby, I called you, left a message, never got back to me. Not just some credible information about crimes that took place with the chief of police today. No, well over a month ago. And then I called, then I sent you another message back, but you couldn't get back to me. Now, you wanted this to run through the federal courts, and it did. And I prevailed. And Frank Previtt is not going to see any discipline. He's not going to see any justice for all that he did. It'll come out in the book, every bit of it. And everybody on this panel here, this board, you're writing all your own chapters in it. You wrote a good one for yourself.
I'm sorry.
You're the police liaison. You're the person I'm supposed to speak to before I speak to the supervisor. But you didn't have any courtesy to get back to me?
I truthfully did not see your message.
Oh, truthfully. And didn't get the second one either, asking about the other one. Well, it's obvious in this town that there's certain people that get special treatment and other people that don't even get a fair shake. Now, you guys try to set me up on a lot of stuff, ugly stuff. And luckily, I videotaped it, kept records of all of it, prevailed on every single one of them. And nothing's going to be done? Well, we're going to end up in state parents taught me to be, and I'm going to expect a resolution to this. I came out on top, kept my cool the whole time, after arrest, trying to get a leg up in federal court.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
So, am I going to get, anybody going to get back to me?
Thank you. You're all set. Thanks. Department head statements. Tamara? Jim, anything? Jackie, you're on the agenda. Mitch, anything?
Nothing.
Jeff, anything?
Yes, we started the phase 2 main panel project down at the treatment plant last week. We met with GHD and O'Connell Electric and worked out some of the details and logistics, and we're looking at about 1 year for completion. And I will give the board update every month on how it's going.
Okay. Just so everybody knows, this is an absolutely brand new system. I don't know. Thanks, John. Bob, anything? Tim Smith.
Just currently going through our baseball and softball. It's going right now as we speak. We have 291 registered players right now, so we're more than last year. Camp registration goes through the end of this week. We have 281 kids signed up to take about 185 for our camp, so we're above that this year as well. And just a quick side note, Lewiston number 2, we have Lego night this Thursday, 6 to 8 o'clock. So join us. Thank you.
I believe that is it. Melinda Olick from the senior center was having trouble logging into the Zoom meeting. Things are very, very busy at the senior center. She does put, oh, I didn't see you. Okay, hey Melinda, sorry about that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yes, we're busy. Friday is flower arranging, and then, May is gonna be crazy. We have the, Derby party on Friday the 3rd, which is the Friday before the Kentucky Derby. On the 7th, Tuesday at 11 o'clock, we're having a declutter speaker who's gonna talk to us about decluttering our lives. And then on the 8th, Wednesday is our Mother's Day lunch. The 14th, Tuesday, the next week is the 80th and 90th birthday celebration. And then we'll have another flower arrangement on Friday the 24th. And to wrap things up, we have our volunteer recognition day on Thursday the 30th at 11 a.m. So that's May, busy month.
Great. Yeah, like I always tell you, I see more and more cars there every day. So, doing a good job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, approval of the meeting minutes from the town board work session on April 11th.
I need to make an amendment.
Okay,
It's not K-U-K-A, it's Yuka, K-E-U-K-A.
Cupo Lake.
Thank you very much.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
As amended. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Audit payment, Councilman Jacoby.
I move to approve the regular abstract of claims 24-00867 through 24-00962, and recommend payment in the amount of $404,044.28, plus a post audit of $14,334.90.
The motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Pending old business. The supplemental agreement number 3, the Department of Army right-of-way. I spoke with the people there. All this is a contract to allow them to go in there for the air samples, to take air samples. I believe they have them at Lewiston Porter. They have them at several locations. So with that being said, I will ask for a motion to approve the contract with the Army Corps of Engineers and for me to sign it.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. New business. Any residents, public correspondence, Stanley? Nothing? Okay. Supervisor Broderick's liaison report. Budget revisions is the only thing I have with Jackie.
No, go on, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Previously, I had submitted 2 2024 budget revisions, and I asked that the board approve them tonight for processing.
I know Jack just, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That's it for my liaison report.
Thank you.
Councilman Jacoby.
Yes, as you know, we've been working on the local law number 1, which is a local law regulating the use of transient or short-term rentals within the town of Lewiston. And after much input from the public, our attorney, this research that we've done ourselves, I think we have a very good law here. I think it's going to be effective, and I believe we should vote on it tonight.
Okay, just so everybody knows, it's gonna be reworded to local law number 2 of 2024. And let me explain why. The last meeting, we approved the solar moratorium. And as we approved them, that's when they get numbered. So when it was filed with the state, that became local law number 1 of 2024. So this local law would be number 2 of 2024 that we're discussing here. just to clarify that.
And then, does anyone else have anything before we vote?
No, Carrie, I'm sorry, I didn't see, we already went through the resident statements.
I emailed you guys that I wanted to speak, and you didn't give me an opportunity, and I also asked you via chat here when I would have the opportunity
Well,
to speak to.
I didn't see via chat, I apologize.
That's also the email that came in before the start of this meeting.
Yeah, I didn't see your email, but I tell you what, I'll give you 1 minute. Can you do it in 1 minute?
I'll speak as fast as I can, but I plan for the full few minutes here, so I'll do my best. But I appreciate you giving that to me, thank you. Okay. My name's Carrie Bergen, I live on Porter Center in the residential rural district. I grew up in this town, and I've invested my livelihood in this home. I gutted and renovated this house that was abandoned for a decade, and I improved this neighborhood. My friends run the local bars, restaurants, stores, farms, wineries, and my Airbnb supports their commerce. My career and health issues have led me to seek part-time accommodation elsewhere, leading me to share my home. And I can't afford this house without this Airbnb short-term rental income. I host families and individuals that return for all sorts of reunions, international families who come to visit their kids who are exchange students. I host pilgrims at the Vatican Shrine, people who come to town to visit their local families during holidays and weddings. My repeat customers have reservations well into the next year and spend time with their families in town during the holidays. And these are a few parties aside myself that would be adversely affected if you guys shut down this Airbnb. More than 3/4 of my income goes back into the town. I employ a dozen local companies and individuals for cleaning, lawn care, tree trimming, snow blowing, weeding, you name it. I support this town. And my Airbnb generates a significant portion of my annual income, allowing me to pay for my education, student loans, and excessive medical bills. Airbnb has a severe post-cancellation policy, which would include me getting penalized for any reservations. Again, I'm booked more than a year out. I'm requesting that, if this does get passed, that some of us existing hosts who've been doing this for 7 years, very responsibly supporting the town, get an extension and are able to complete our current bookings at a minimum. At the last meeting, it was noted that there were no official reports to document any of these negative impacts, and that this local law was in fact based on hearsay for the 10 Airbnb or less locations in town. This regulation should equally protect homeowners and short-term rental owners. And I feel that this law discriminates against protected parties whose livelihood, including myself, depends on the short-term rental income. Given that there's no evidence to support the local law, and that prohibiting this type of land use in a community that's at risk for regulating racial and economic diversity, this would be considered a discriminatory, exclusionary zoning ordinance. As written, this local law discriminates against federally protected parties, including low-income residents, middle-income residents, and residents with disabilities, by eliminating affordable housing opportunities and blocking supplementary income opportunities.
Okay, Carrie,
So
I think we get your side. Okay, thank you very,
I love my hometown, and this cuts me off, and I'm only not there part of the year because of my health and work. And I really hope that you guys consider, me and the other residents that are in similar positions. It's not the wealthy that are going to be affected by this. It's those of us who are struggling.
thank you, Carrie. I'm sorry, so go ahead, John.
So, we did put the law together, and, I know that you've come in good faith and expressed your opinion, and you're, for the most part, polite about it, and I understand fully what's going on with you, economically, that it is a hit. I know it's a hit. But I've had an absolute flood of people, and they just, everyone I talk to, they come to me, and they say, John, you're not gonna do this, are you? Legalize it all throughout the town. And, the odd thing is,
Hold on. Where are they?
They're not
Hold on.
here.
I
Where are
mean,
they?
they don't have
Yes,
an
so-
economic interest, and unless the short-term rental's going up right next door to you, it's one of those deals where I'm opposed to it.
It's 6 o'clock at night, do I wanna go all the way to the town board meeting? Honestly, it's my humble opinion that the majority of people do not want them. And, well, that's,
I can't speak.
yeah. So at any rate, I didn't wanna get into a soapbox or a big, big back and forth. Our, codes are inclusionary codes, they're not exclusionary, or they don't exclude. But what I mean by that is, if you were to look at it and say, oh gee, in the R1 district, there's nothing that says we can't do an Airbnb, there's nothing that says we can't. Well, there's a very specific included list of things that are permitted. That was the old one, not the one we're doing now. The new one's the same way. And unless you read it differently than me, when you guys opened these places up, they were not allowed according to the previous code, the existing code. So you kind of got in under the radar because we didn't hear a lot of complaints. Only one.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
We're not gonna go back and
Okay.
forth. We're not gonna go back, we had an opportunity for that, we're not gonna go back and forth. John, go ahead and move ahead.
Okay. So does anyone else have any discussion about this?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. I went on a couple of the towns that join us laws, and the town of Niagara just allows them in their commercial districts. And then I went to the city of Niagara Falls, and actually I pulled their law up, and I'm reading it here, and it's under purpose. It's the first part of their law. Short-term rental, the chapter is to regulate the short-term rental of dwelling units within the city of Niagara Falls, New York, and establish a comprehensive registration and license regulations to safeguard the public health, safety, and welfare by regulating and controlling the use, occupancy, and oversight and maintenance of short-term rental properties. The city also recognizes that extensive short-term rentals have the potential to compromise the residential character of a community and may cause disruption to the peace, quiet, and enjoyment of neighboring residents. So that's in their law. So I pulled up the map. I grew up in Niagara Falls, spent 32 years of my life in the inner city of Niagara Falls. And I noticed they're not only allowed in the inner city. They're not allowed in DeVoe, they're not allowed in Lewiston, and they're not allowed in Cuba Island. I'm just wondering, I get my hats off to them because they allow them in the inner city, and that's where there's a lot of blight housing, empty homes that need to be brought back up to code and run them out. That's a great idea for them there. But they don't allow them. I mean, DeVoe, you have Whirlpool Park, you have Devil's Hole, you can walk to the falls. In Lake Sully, you have shopping malls, plazas, restaurants. I think they would be. In Cuba Island, it would be an ideal to sit on the big river, a bonfire at night, and watch the big river, enjoy it. That'd be a perfect setting for it, but they're not allowed there. And I'm just wondering why they wouldn't be allowed there. I got an idea why, but they only allow them in the inner city. And that's just my comment on that.
Thanks, Doc.
I just have a couple too. Just as far as looking at historically, what the town of Lewiston, their stance on transient rentals has been, is that the B&B land use type has been excluded from R1, R2 districts. So moving forward, I think it's the intent of the town of Lewiston to keep them excluded in those areas, since short-term rentals appear to be an extension of an Airbnb. Also too, if you look at historical data, STRs, it's probably about a $28.8 billion industry now. It's moving away from the homeowner basically subsidizing their mortgage into more of an industry platform. So I think there's more push to have a hotelization of your residential districts. So now you run into that issue as far as doing the hotelization and also dealing with possible cottage industry. Also too, the town of Lewiston, if you look at the surrounding communities, if you look at Wilson, if you look at Niagara Falls, and if you also look at the town of Niagara, just as Councilman Morial had pointed out, Wilson basically has historically been a summer vacation resort community. And it even, which, it's been over, excuse me, generations, that people have had their summer homes, that they've gone to their summer homes, they don't live there long term. As where I think that there's a difference with that with the town of Lewiston. We're mainly populated by young families, working people, and retirees who have commitments, responsibilities. They're not on vacation 24/7, 365 days a year. So I think that there is a potential that an STR B&B can potentially limit the neighbors' right to peaceful enjoyment. Also, if you look at, again, Niagara Falls, again, Cayuga Island and LaSalle is what I would deem comparable to what the town of Lewiston is with our riverfront. And in those areas, Niagara Falls has decided to exclude short-term rentals and B&B from those areas. So I don't think that town of Lewiston is out of line in doing the same along our riverfront. And then also too, I have heard a lot from the town of Lewiston community. They may not have shown up here, but we've received phone calls, we've received letters. I know campaigning last year, going door to door and talking to people face to face, they have expressed interest in the fact that they do not want to live next to a short-term rental or to a B&B. And also too, the one thing that did strike me as comments when people spoke at the last public hearing, a lot was said about neighbors and about individuals as far as experiences, good or bad, however. Neighbors all of a sudden end up becoming the interface between the consumers and the community. Or because with a short-term rental or a B&B, obviously the homeowner is on site, so now it falls on the neighbors. So the neighbors are often maybe left to meet and greet the individuals that are coming to stay. They often maybe have good conversations, whether, conversations good or bad, that's not for me to judge. But then the neighbors are now left reliant on the fact that they have to monitor those properties.
So
So
they have to do that?
they don't have to, but it becomes inherent. So, and then also too, the neighbors begin to be, as far as they start to police the properties. Because they're the ones that are living next door, they're the ones that are dealing with the nuisance or the noise or the what have you. So, that was as far as for me, it was a concern because it immediately establishes or can establish an adversarial relationship between the neighbor and the property owner. So that's also, I think, an offshoot of the STR. But I do recognize that there is a financial burden that individuals may face, but there are still a variety of options that are open to individuals as far as who have been operating transient rentals for use of their property. And I do believe the ordinance allows for short-term rentals in B&Bs in appropriate districts, and it does allow for a grace period for unauthorized transient rentals in the town of Lewiston. So with that, I think that the town of Lewiston's original ordinance on transient housing and with the majority of the town residents, and that this ordinance is in alignment with the surrounding communities.
Well, hold on, we're not gonna go back and forth. The thing I'm gonna say.
She has an Airbnb.
Well, I understand, he's made that perfectly clear at other meetings, I understand that. So,
She
what
can
I'm,
do what we can.
sir, hold on. So, I'm gonna tell you why I'm against this law. I believe that Airbnbs can be regulated, I use Airbnbs, I have never had a situation that has been brought up negatively. We've had Airbnbs here since 2016, I believe, maybe 2015, and this is the first time we've ever had issues. I'd rather live next to an Airbnb than 4726 Lower River Road. I have 2 Airbnbs in my neighborhood. Never had a problem. They're beautifully kept. I can show you 3 houses within a quarter of a mile of my house that are absolute dumps, that aren't Airbnbs, and there's nothing you can do about them. So I think with the proper regulations, we could have made a law that, that could have worked. But being a diplomatic or democratic system, we have 5 people to vote on it. And Jason, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, it's just similar sentiments to what Steve portrayed, and you know, I use them as well. I have them. There's one right close to where I live. Never been a problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So with that, I guess, John, if you want to move forward.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that, tonight we approve the Town of Lewiston, New York local law number 2, 2024, and it is the local law regulating the use of transient or short-term rentals within the Town of Lewiston. And that's a motion that we approve it tonight.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. It'll be a roll call vote.
Councilman Jacoby,
Yes.
Councilman Moyal,
Yes.
Councilman Myers,
Nay.
Councilwoman Wachter,
Yes.
Supervisor Barger.
No.
Okay, motion is carried 3-2.
What about the conflict of interest?
Well, yeah, we've gone over it time and time again, you know, it's.
But it doesn't matter.
Well, what I'm hearing today is the
Doesn't
majority of
Stop.
this.
It's over.
Hearsay.
It's over. We've had public hearings on this. I understand, okay? So it's over. So,
Where's Amy tonight?
sir, thank you.
Thank you, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And Mr. Supervisor, that's all I have tonight.
Before we
Okay.
purchase $1.2
Well,
million
at the end of the meeting, you can talk if you want.
I'll be back.
Okay, at the end of the meeting. Councilman Morial?
My license report, our head from the building department, inspector, got 3 prices to refinish the window coverings, top and bottom of all the windows in the town building, town hall building, and also to paint the back door. So we ended up getting 3 bids. The first one was from Brendel Painting, which was for $5,975. Second bid was from SBR Painting, $3,750. And a third one from Scott Heffernan Painting, which was for $3,600. And I'd like to make a motion that we approve the $3,600 bid for Scott Heffernan Painting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I just want to thank Ed Zimmerman for taking this ball and running with it. He put a lot of work into this window project along with Tim as well. Tim's the one who's going to gain the most because he's going to gain a window.
Actually, Ed did pretty much it all.
So we appreciate that. So,
Moving on our planning board, we would like to replace Tom Tanziano. So I'm gonna make a motion that we replace him.
remove them. What did we remove?
Remove him. Yes, I'll need a motion on that.
I make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
My second motion will be to move Mark Gallo from the zoning to the planning board. So that is also a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the third is to appoint Henry Sandinato to the zoning board. And that is a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And that's all I got.
Okay. Councilman Myers.
I just had a follow-up conversation with Rob Hoover over at Sanborn Fire Hall. Finished moving forward with some proposed enhancements to the Sanborn Park there. So continuing conversation and keeping the loop as far as things develop.
And we talked earlier, so we'll do a site visit and some improvements at Sanborn Fire Hall Park. So, thank you. Councilwoman Wachter.
Yes, I have a proclamation, which I believe at some point we are all going to have to sign. It is to designate May 2024 as Older Americans Month. And whereas older Americans in the United States, through their knowledge, talents, and abilities, contribute to the success of our country and its communities, their contributions benefit not only their well-being, but all citizens of our great nation. And whereas the town of Lewiston is proud of our older Americans, they make Lewiston a better place to live, work, and play because of their enthusiasm, vitality, and commitment to our community. And whereas older Americans in Lewiston readily, on a regular basis, share their programs and activities with all Lewiston residents. Now, therefore, let it be known, recognizing the aforesaid and as an expression of pride and gratitude in the town of Lewiston's older Americans, the Town of Lewiston Town Board proclaims the month of May 2024 to be Older Americans Month in Lewiston, New York.
Thank you very much. You know what, do you want to make a motion that we declare that?
Yeah, I guess I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion that May 2024 is Older Americans Month.
Okay. We have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Yeah, you're older. John, your
So
motion.
you say there's a conflict of interest?
I forgot to make a
Motion carried, motion carried. Resident statements. Okay, upcoming board commission meetings, work session. Our next work session is May 13th. We have an extra Monday in there, so it's 3 weeks.
Supervisor, is this the allotted time if somebody wants to speak?
We have allowed people to speak at the end of our meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't sure where you were going.
Yeah, no. And, sorry. Historic Preservation, May 14th. Environmental Commission, May 14th, 7 p.m. Zoning Board of Appeals, May 9th, 6 p.m. Planning Board, May 16th at 6:30 p.m. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Should you allow people to talk?
I asked them, yes, I already asked them if they wanted to speak.
No, I do. I do.
Well, I asked if anybody wanted to speak.
Oh, that's fine. I guess it was a miscommunication.
Okay,
May I
yeah,
approach?
go ahead.
Good evening, all. My name is Francine Del Monte. I live on Lower River Road. I've been before your board several times about the short-term rental law. I want to thank council members Jacoby, Morial, and Wechter for having the courage to put people over profits. You did a tremendous service to the residents of the town of Lewiston tonight. I have one caveat to my compliments to all of you and the good work that you put together, and that's the fact that when I went on the town of Lewiston's website this morning to try to find this law, I couldn't find it. And I spoke with another friend of mine. We were both on the website. It was nowhere to be found. I had to go to work. I didn't have an opportunity to go back on the website and see if it had appeared. So it did come as somewhat of a surprise, I must tell you, when I walked in and I saw this on the table, not knowing if you were really going to move forward with any action on it. So in one respect, I want to say again how thankful I am that you moved forward with this legislation. On the other side, I haven't had time to really digest it enough to understand fully what it is that was passed tonight. And, you know, today, as in any other governmental forum, transparency is the key word. And, you know, nobody in the public domain should be left without knowing exactly what it is that you're doing, especially on the evening that you're going to pass this. But based on what I've heard and, you know, just the skimming of a reading of this law, I'm hoping it achieves what so many of us have spoken to over these past 2 months, that we only want peace. We want to have the privacy of our residential properties, some of the most expensive properties, you know, the type of homes that we put a lot of investment in, and we want to have that in our control, and not to have somebody living on one side or somebody living on the other side renting it out to others who may create some havoc in the community or in the neighborhood. So I do appreciate what you've done here. I'm glad that this has come to a good conclusion. You know, for those who have been involved in this business and didn't get the right, and for whatever reason didn't operate under the contingency of the law, hey, you know what? You deal with it. Because we've had to deal with it. And I no longer want to deal with it. So thank you for doing this, and I'm hoping that people will abide by this law, and if they don't, that there will be an enforcement so that whatever discrepancies might occur will be stopped immediately.
Just so you know, it was on the website too. It was.
It wasn't on this morning, Steve.
It was under agenda PDF.
I went on the agenda PDF.
Well, you may have gone on the agenda, but I didn't go on the agenda PDF. It was on there. I saw it yesterday. It wasn't, it should have been, I'll agree with you, it should have been out there a little bit.
I gotta tell you, Steve, and the other thing, no mention in the Sentinel. You know, the people up here said, oh, well, you know, where are the other advocates? Or who the hell knew? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way, but how are you supposed to know it? If I hadn't talked to somebody yesterday, I didn't know that this was happening today. And that's wrong. So the public needs to be aware when decisions of this making are happening, and not to be aware of it really, that's all part of this transparency that I spoke about earlier. But thank you anyway, I appreciate it.
Thanks. Do you want to speak, sir?
My daughter is.
Okay.
You know, this has been a very daunting, long process. I think that the timing is very poor. I sent you guys all emails. We have a lot of people, myself, but all the other short-term rentals that are going to be canceling, you know, and I think that that's very unfortunate. This is, I think this is so aggressive. You know, this is just like, there's awful problems here in the area. It's so aggressive. The fines and the you know, these awful fictitious potential things that could possibly happen. And it's a shame that so much effort was put into writing this for something that really has shown no issues, no problems for the town to compare to other areas. This is the town of Lewiston, and you're very close to the only place really that people come and spend the day. We all know Niagara Falls. I'm from Niagara Falls as well, and it's home, but that's an area that all the short-term rentals are in. They're close to the falls, and that's, you know, but I'm not going to answer that question. I didn't write those laws. But again, to be independent and to think on your own and know that the Center Street and a great tourist area is a mile away, and to say that's, you know, the same, I don't agree. But this is, I guess verbally, I'd like it in the notes that I'm putting you on notice, the town of Lewiston, that you will be hearing from my lawyer, and you know, this is going to be a process that I strongly support, and I think that it's good for the area, and it's good for the people, and they're the people that come to the area, and the people that own short-term rentals, and I just don't think it's fair. I don't think that this law was written with fairness, and to your point, you got a lot of, you know, someone's not going to come at 6 o'clock at night because it's not right next door to them. There are so many businesses, business owners. I walk up and down Center Street, waddled up and down, pregnant with my son, and you know.
He was referring to the meeting tonight.
Yes.
That's what he was referring to, at least at 6 o'clock.
Right, yeah, so people like not coming to the meeting to say that they're opposing or, you know, that they're for it or against it. But all the business owners, and they have to be careful because they can't say one way or the other because they're a business. You have to be, you know, politically correct. But there's just as many, you said you got phone calls, you know, people were saying it when you were going door to door that they didn't want it. There's just as equally as many people who said that they did support it and they did want it, but didn't show up here, you know. But the people that did show up here, you know, I think it was pretty strong in favor of short-term rentals. And there were a few, you know, oh, I don't want this in my town. But most of the people had valid facts and good input and statistics and data, and this is not a compromise at all. And so, you know, it is what it is, the classic saying, and you know, again, this is something that I'm very involved in, very invested, and so if I overspoke, I do apologize for that. That's not in my character.
Thank you very much.
But thank you, and
okay. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Steve, can I say something? Do I have to sign in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Most of you know who I am, and I do want to say that the two gentlemen that voted against this
I've lost an awful lot of respect for both of you, and you know I had an awful lot of respect before this.
They voted against it?
That voted, excuse me, for, excuse me, sorry, Steve. No, I still love you, that's okay. Anyway, you've taken the heart of Lewiston out of me. Born and raised and lived in this community and planned on moving back, okay, as you know. And I still don't know what I'm going to do with that, but boy, this is not the Lewiston that I grew up in and that I loved, and that people can say and accuse people of doing things before they've even allowed it to be in existence. They've listened to one person make complaints. Nothing has been followed through with the police that have been called there, and they've let her sway you, and that's very, very sad. That's all I have to say. Thank you for hearing me. God love Lewiston, because you're going to need help. You are.
Thank you. With that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Kids, anybody's gotta have something signed, come on up, we'll sign them.
Yes. Thank you.
No, she didn't.
She acted like we should all know her.
No.
I'll go this way. I can avoid everyone this way. It's all right. Have a good one. Have a good one, Mitch. We'll talk to you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah. You better go this way.